Welcome to Behind a Desk, where everything I say is 20% more important because, well, I have a desk. Humankind might become the first species in history to simply opt out of existence. In the last year, over 1 million people have chosen to end their lives. And weirdly, some of the countries with the highest suicide rates are also countries that had the highest standard of living, which means that, we obviously have no idea what makes us happy. No, humanity needs to go and find itself. It needs to go India and do a vision quest. Because despite being at the peak of civilization, 300 million people around the world are depressed. And do you know what depressed people do? Nothing. No, the World Health Organization estimates that in lost productivity, we lose $1 trillion a year because of mental health disorders, with depression being number one on that list. They also estimate that by 2030, depression will be the leading cause of disability, which is, great news for pharmaceutical companies. Yeah! No, really, big pharma are crushing it in this niche. Seriously. They have this super dope subscription model where they make antidepressants that are just good enough to make it worthwhile taking, but never actually fix anything. Talk about a guaranteed repeat customer, am I right? The pharmaceutical companies made $14 billion off antidepressants in 2017, estimated to rise to $16 billion in the next couple of years. Oh yeah, but I'm sure they're working on a real cure, right? Maybe let's not hold our breath on that one. So what other solutions are people coming up with? Well, the Golden Gate Bridge has always been a classic suicide hotspot. Thousands of people have successfully leapt to the death over the years, a handful of unlucky survivors. So San Francisco is finally investing in prevention. And do you know what they've come up with? Their solution to the crippling mental illness that forces people to jump off bridges is to invest $200 million into a giant net. They're like, oh, people keep jumping off the bridge. What do we do? Oh, I don't know. Catch them? And the newspapers are hailing the net as a triumph of compassion. I'm just not convinced that the most compassionate thing we can do is to wait until people are so bad that they want to jump off a bridge, proceed to catch them halfway down, and then force them to keep living. They're like, oh, we got another one. You don't get out of it that easily. Back to the miserable existence from whence you came. Chop, chop. What, you want help? Access to mental health services? Oh, we don't have money for that. Spent it all on net. And the thing is that by choosing a net as our top prevention strategy, we are essentially saying that suicide is a navigation issue. People keep taking a wrong turn off the bridge, as if the reasons why people jump are completely unfathomable. Oh, I don't know. Could it be your widening economic disparity, no access to healthcare, increasing social isolation? No, just a big mystery, build a net. And remember, this is $200 million for a net for one bridge. And yeah, I get it. The Golden Gate is the luxury jump. But do you really think that someone who is so in pain and obsessed with their own death that they don't have a plan B? They're not just going to drive 5 minutes down the road to a slightly less glamorous but altogether unnetted bridge? Do you know how many bridges there are in San Francisco? What are we going to do? Net them all? Just turn our cities into a giant trampoline park? I'm actually not completely opposed to that idea. But how about we spend $200 million instead on mental health services, on preventative care, on something that works from the inside out, rather than trying to physically obstruct people in their final acts of desperation? Just an idea. Because, America's not well. If things keep going as they are, then this year, 70% of Americans will identify as being unhappy with their lives. 7% will have a major depressive episode. 18% will have an anxiety disorder. 13% will be on antidepressants. 70,000 people will die of a drug overdose. 1.4 million people will attempt suicide, and an extra 47,000 will succeed. I don't think a net is the answer.